A shock result in British politics, and it begins with an attack.
I mean, Nigel Farage is a complete charlatan, so the fact that he has the barefaced cheek to in public life accuse anyone of cheating when his own party was hauled to the High Court yesterday because of election leaflets that they delivered. More widely though, I'm not worried about what happened in the election. I'm more worried about what Nigel Farage says every single day.
Zack Polanski, celebrating a surprise by-election victory in Gorton and Denton, has launched a blistering swipe at Nigel Farage, branding him a charlatan. But while the insult grabs headlines, it's the result itself that's sending shockwaves through Westminster. Because this wasn't just any win. Polanski's Green Party of England and Wales has taken a seat few expected them to win. A result that raises serious questions about the direction of Britain's political map and who is really gaining ground as voters abandon the traditional parties. For Reform UK supporters, the takeaway isn't the insult, it's the volatility. The by-election result suggests the electorate is fragmenting fast. Labour support is splintering, Conservative backing remains shaky, and protest votes are no longer going to just one insurgent force. Instead, they're spreading. And that matters, because Reform UK's national polling strength has been built on the idea that it alone represents the main vehicle for voter frustration, on migration, the cost of living, and trust in government. But a Green victory like this shows another reality. Disillusioned voters aren't moving in a single direction, they're moving everywhere.
This is going to transform the face of British politics. Look, this was our 127th target seat. That now shows there is no-go areas for the Green Party. Wherever we campaign and wherever we work hard, we know when we genuinely connect with communities in the same way that Hannah Spencer has done, there is no seat we can't win. So what I'm absolutely on the lookout now for is the future Hannah Spencers, those people who maybe haven't been in politics before, who have got really involved, who are feeling hopeful, who know they can do it. I have no doubt that she's going to inspire a new generation of Green MPs.
And this could complicate the electoral battlefield. In first-past-the-post politics, insurgent parties don't just compete with the establishment, they often compete with each other, which means every unexpected Green gain potentially fragments the anti-establishment vote Reform is trying to consolidate. Still, allies of Farage argue this kind of by-election upset doesn't signal a national shift, only local protest. But critics say dismissing results like this would be a mistake, because what Gorton and Denton may actually show is something deeper, a restless electorate willing to experiment. And that is precisely why Polanski's attack on Farage is politically significant. It signals the Greens don't just want votes, they want the anti-establishment mantle. The question now is whether this was a one-off protest result, or the first sign that Britain's insurgent vote is about to become a crowded battlefield. There's already been reaction to this result from across the political spectrum. Here's what's been said so far on GB News.
I don't think anybody will be really shocked. We all know what happens in by-elections. People rally around whoever has the best chance in that seat on that day. That wasn't, we weren't talking about the chances of us winning 24 hours ago. Then the reality is that you look at the Labour Party, you look at the stonking majority they got in Parliament at the last general election. A couple of years before that, in the Chesham and Amersham by-election, their vote fell from 13% down to 1.6%, even more seismic than this. This is what a by-election's about. It's about the people who are in contention on that day in that seat. The big story here is what happened to Labour. The fact that this is a safe, super safe Labour seat that they've held for decades, and they've had their backsides handed to them this morning, and it's not a surprise. The people who voted for them last time are devastated about the consequences of a Labour government on the country. The broken promises to WASPy women, to pensioners, to farmers and everybody else, the damage they're doing to our economy, the people who are being put out of work and having their lives destroyed by this government and the choices made by Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves.
Yeah, but by that logic, then, the Conservatives want to paint themselves as the great hope in sorting the country out, representing the people, getting things back on track. Yet it was your worst ever by-election result in history, 1.9%, losing your deposit.
As we've said, it's all about context. You look at what happened to Labour before the last general election. Huge majority. Similar, in fact, much worse situation in a by-election. We were not in contention. It wasn't our fight yesterday. It was the fight of the Labour Party. It was the fight of the Greens. It was the fight of reform. We've seen the outcome. We've seen the message sent to this Labour government and what they're doing to this country. I don't think Reform will be walking away happy with the result that they got yesterday. I think they'll be very disappointed. They claimed they could win. It hasn't happened for them yesterday at all.
Second best is not good enough, is it?
Look, I would have rather Reform UK walk away with the gold medal, but we will take the silver because, you know what, it's an incredible improvement on where we were polling not too long ago. Matt Goodwin, as an excellent candidate as he was.
Was he the right choice?
He did. I tell you why, because I was there yesterday. I've been lots throughout the campaign. The enthusiasm and excitement of our volunteers when they travelled from across the country. We had councillors coming from Kent, from Scotland, to go and campaign, and Matt took so much time to get to know them all, to speak to them. He was knocking on doors every single day, you know, day and night, and I did it with him. Fantastic candidate. We couldn't have asked for anything better. And as for the actual campaign, you know, like any Reform event, if you ever get to go to one, the vibe is unbelievable. The excitement, the passion, the enthusiasm of our members, absolutely extraordinary. So for us as a party, you know, we were able to double our vote share, send Labour packing, and, you know, the Tories, who are they?
Well, did you send Labour packing or did you send Labour packing, Paul?
I think the Green Party sent Labour packing, indeed. And it's interesting to say that, you know, Matt's a good candidate. The way that candidates were chosen there, I think, illustrates some really interesting points between the difference between Reform and the Green Party. Matt was chosen by Farage and parachuted in. There was no member vote about it, as far as I'm aware. The Green Party is an incredibly democratic party. We are led by our members, which is approaching 200,000, nearly bigger than the Labour Party. Local members voted for a local candidate and chose her and rallied behind her. And I think that's quite interesting, that actually by embracing democracy and letting ordinary people choose their candidate for their area, we got an amazing candidate. I don't think we could have done better than Hannah, a plumber who lives in the area, knows it, and could connect with ordinary people. And we see that by parachuting someone in, he didn't connect with anyone.
Sorry, Matt is an extremely popular member of our party.
In Gorton and
He
Denton.
travels the country meeting our members, and you don't get thousands and thousands of members give up their weekends, some of them 3 weeks in a trot, to go and campaign for somebody that they don't want to win. And of course, doubling the vote share is not something that's easily done. And of course, unlike any other political party, in my opinion, in this country, we have Nigel Farage as our leader, who, wherever you go in the country, is greeted with warmth and affection.
Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute, because let's look at what we've got in common a little bit here.
Yes.
Nigel's incredibly charismatic, right, and that really strikes the note with a lot of people. The interesting thing, of course, about Zack Polanski is he too, whether you agree with him or not, you've got to say, he's got charisma. He's taking the Green Party to places it's never been before.
I think what's good about Zack is that he is able to connect with voters. He has charisma and everything else. But what I think is important is he is just bringing to a national stage something that has existed for decades, which is the Green Party as a democratic electoral force. And the question I was going to ask is, do you think Reform members should get to vote to choose their candidates rather than Nigel Farage, like the Green Party?
We're an
do
extremely...
you believe in democracy?
We're an extremely democratic party.
Do you think that local parties should get to elect their candidate?
They do. They've been doing it for their local council candidates. In fact, we've got a process coming out for that. So, you know, we are a new party. We're professionalising all the time. But we have an elected board. You know, as a party, I'm in no doubt that I'm part of a democratic organisation. But what was very interesting in telling about this by-election is you had the Green Party going on about Gaza, the Labour Party going on about the Labour Party. There's only Matt Goodwin that's actually talking about Gorton and Denton. I actually saw the literature. I saw the literature yesterday. People were giving it back to me saying, I don't want this rubbish, and that was from all parties. All you saw from the Green Party and the Labour Party was they was talking about themselves or Gaza. We were talking about this country.
But it's not true. Did you see Hannah's victory speech? It was actually a really beautiful speech, and I recommend you watch it. She said that when you worked hard in this country, it used to mean something. And she was saying that from her own personal experience as a working class woman, and saying that actually she on the doorsteps was connecting with people and saying, we want what the Green Party's offering. Lower bills.
Yeah.
We want people to be able to have a good quality of life, regardless of whether you're wealthy or not. And we want our hard work to go to us, not just to make the...
But isn't that interesting, Paul, that Zack Polanski has taken your party kind of away from environmental issues and more towards the cost of living ticket, which is what Hannah says she won on.
And the thing is, the two things are inextricably linked. And the problem is, when I come on GB News often to talk about environmental issues, and I'm often told, well, net zero doesn't connect with the concerns of ordinary people. So we go and talk about the concerns of ordinary people and then told we're not talking about environment enough. I'm very happy to come onto GB News at any moment to talk about sewage, fly tipping, the environment, building, anything you like. Please invite me on. I'm happy to talk about green policy and what our amazing environmental policies are. But the thing is, people aren't interested.
No, I don't doubt that the MP elected is going to inspire many young people, especially, many working families too. But the difference between her and, I think, a Reform MP in this context would be that, unfortunately, Hannah's politics would result in wealth creators leaving the country and actually making life harder for working people. Reform's politics would encourage wealth creators to come to the country, build businesses, not attack and penalise people because they've earned £1 million once in their life, which is sadly what the Green Party does.
It's good.
Where would Hannah be if her employers weren't able to start their business and run their business?
It's really good to know that Reform just represents the same old, tired, Thatcherite trickle-down economics of the Tories, Labour, the Conservatives and Labour, and to some extent the Liberal Democrats over the last 40 years, and actually the only real alternative to vote for if you don't want to just have trickle-down economics where we wait in hope that the wealthy might share
What's
some of their
wealthy
wealth
to you?
with us. Let me finish, is to vote Green if you actually want a wealth tax.
What's wealthy to you?
The Greens' wealth tax is over 10 million. That's quite a
What's wealth? What does wealthy mean to you?
The Greens' wealth tax.
But he's asking on a personal level.
Well, I mean, wealthy can mean anything, can't it? I mean, the point is the Greens' policy states that we want to tax wealth over 10 million. That will not touch any ordinary person, even very middle-class people with very fancy...
But it would, wouldn't it?
It's the super wealthy. And you believe...
But the argument is, and I haven't got the exact figures on me, but it's something like, the top 1% of wealthy people in the country pay, I don't know, what is it, 25, 30% of income tax.
Would you prefer those people pay their income tax in another country, in a foreign country? Would you really prefer we export that money? Rather than spend it on our services in our country, you'd rather another country get that taxation?
I think the British people are tired of being told that we have to accept huge levels of wealth inequality because those wealth creators might up and leave.
Well, they are up in and leaving at the moment with the current socialist government, and what you're doing is socialism on steroids.
You think the current Labour government is socialist?
Well, it is when it's driving wealth away and killing entrepreneurism, absolutely.
They couldn't even drop the two-child benefit.
But it's driving business away from Britain, driving people away from Britain.
Good morning. Well, look, I'm not going to try to sugarcoat this or pretend that this hasn't been a very difficult and disappointing night for the Labour Party. There was clearly a very big anti-reform vote in Gorton and Denton. That split between the Labour Party and the Green Party, and on this occasion the Green Party turned out more than their vote than we did of ours. Now, look, I think the circumstances in which this by-election came about weren't ideal, and for me that reinforces the very high standards in public life that the electorate expect their politicians to have. We've had a challenging couple of weeks of headlines, but what I would say is that I don't think we should overinterpret this result. There is no direct read across from a by-election where there are often quite unique circumstances that apply to then what happens in a subsequent general election. And just because people voted for a Green MP in Manchester last night doesn't mean to say that they want Zack Polanski to be the Prime Minister. I think that the Green Party offer, which is being soft on defence, soft on national security, soft on law and order, won't survive contact with the electorate come the general election in 2029. Now, of course, all political parties should be constantly in listening mode. If you want to be a successful politician, you reflect and you learn from these types of nights, and that's precisely what the Labour Party will be doing. But we're more determined than ever to get on and deliver the change that the country voted for back in 2024. And I think the lesson from this is that we are taking the right long-term decisions to get the economy growing, to invest in public services, to improve opportunities for the next generation. But not enough people are feeling that in their day-to-day lives at the moment. And I do understand that. Look, if you're looking at your bank account at the end of the month and you're struggling to pay your bills,
Forgive me, Heidi Alexander.
or you're still struggling to get an NHS dentist, or your local high street is still run
Heidi
down,
Alexander,
then I understand people feeling impatient for that change.
Heidi Alexander, are you making the right decisions? Are you making the right policy? Are you listening? Because it seems like you have focused so much on outreforming reform when it comes to your immigration policy and with your increasing rhetoric that you have missed this green wave to the left of you. The people in Gorton and Denton want leftist politics, that's clear. And this is one of the safest Labour seats in the country. It's historically been Labour, and you didn't only lose, you came third. This is a disaster for the Labour Party.
So I think that it is quite normal for governing parties to lose by-elections mid-term. And if you look at some by-elections that happened after the election of Tony Blair in 1997, there was a big swing against the Labour Party in some of those elections, and he went on to achieve a resounding victory in 2001. And I would also point to the by-elections that took place under David Cameron between 2010 and 2015. There were 21 by-elections, of which the Conservative Party only won one, and they went on to secure a majority and increase their share of the vote at the 2015 election. So that's why I say I don't think we should overinterpret the results of yesterday. Of course, we will reflect and we will learn, but I think we need to remain committed to delivering against the priorities of the mainstream majority in this country. And for me, that's about tackling the cost of living, having a firm but fair immigration system where we have proper controls that are enforced. And, it means if people don't have a right to be in this country, they should be deported and removed. And that's why it's good news. In the last 19 months, we've seen removals go up by
forgive me, but we don't need to run through
all increase on the last government.